Hello and welcome to today's Up to Thrive, Manage Your Mind, Mindful Moment.
Welcome to Up to Thrive, your go-to podcast for women's wellness in midlife, designed to educate, support, and inspire you to live your very best life. And now your host, Dr. Karina Sims.
Good morning, or whatever time it is, wherever you are. I'm sitting here living my absolute very best life. It is bright and early on a Sunday morning. I'm sitting in the sunroom and I'm looking out across the farm. The sun is coming up. I've got two jasmine shrubs, I guess is what they're called. One on either side of the door to the sunroom. They were given to me by two of my just absolute soul sister dear friends, Julie and Tash, for my birthday last year. And so I've actually named them Julie and Tash. And man, they are just flourishing and the scent is intoxicating. It's just amazing. So I've woken up this morning, as I often do on a Sunday morning, just really embracing this thought that I just have the best life. So I started to reflect on that. I woke up to the sounds of the birds, which I just find absolutely amazing. The bird life here on the farm is just off of a flood bank, and the bird life is just unbelievable. And there's something about those birds singing in the morning that just fills my heart with just such joy. They just sound so happy. So I got my cup of coffee and I'm sitting here reflecting. I do often think this thought that I have the best life, but it's not by accident, right? And in fact, I don't think that my life would be amazing for some people. Some people wouldn't want my life. That's totally fine because I've built my life for me. I have spent all of my years molding and crafting it to be exactly what I want it to be. And you know what? It's still a work in progress. I'm still heading in that direction. And my life has not been without gut-wrenching heartbreak, grief, and pain. If you've listened to any of my backstory, then you could probably appreciate that there has been a fair bit of suffering in my life. Great suffering. And you know what? Some days aren't as great as others, but without the contrast of sadness, there would be no happiness. And without the contrast of defeat, there would be no victory. Life is meant to be 50-50. 50% somewhere between good and amazing, and 50% somewhere between bad and shit. That's the wonderful thing that we call life. That's all part of the deal. As I said, my entire life has been a work in progress. I didn't like living in poverty, and I didn't like living surrounded by violence and drugs and instability, so I found a way out. I didn't like the way I was being treated in a marriage that I entered at such a young age, so I found a way out. I didn't like that spare tire that menopause put around my middle, so I found a way to get it off of me. I didn't like the kitchen in the house that I just bought, but I had already just invested all of my money in property and didn't have money to get someone to put a new one in, so I found a way to make one myself. I didn't like not using my creativity in my life every day, and I didn't like the abundance of misinformation out there around perimenopause and menopause, so I created this podcast. My point of all of this is that life is too short to not be living your very best life, whatever that looks like for you. Whatever is in your power to create. Life is too short not to find the joy. I'm healthy. My family's healthy. I see beauty all around me because I am looking for it. I have friends that I trust and love just as much as I do my children because I've invested the time and the vulnerability that it takes to create those relationships. Every day is a new day to play, a new day to move forward, to continue to grow and to flourish and to continue to mold and refine this beautiful life. So friends, I hope that you're living your best life too. And if you're not, what's stopping you? What would you need to do to be living the very best life that you can? That's a question for you to reflect on today. Have an amazing day. I hope you've enjoyed this Manage Your Mind mindful moment. And if you have, and you can think of someone else who might enjoy it, please pass it on. And don't forget to rate and review the podcast to make it more visible to those who might get something out of it too. Have a great week, everyone. And until then, I hope you opt to thrive.
The Opt to Thrive podcast is designed for information purposes only and is not engaged in the giving of medical advice. The information provided on the podcast should not be used for diagnosing or treating a health problem or disease. In no way should the information provided by Opt to Thrive be considered medical advice, and at all times the advice of a medical professional should supersede recommendations from Opt to Thrive. If you have or suspect you may have a health problem, you should consult your healthcare provider. The views expressed in this podcast are purely that of Dr. Sims and do not in any way reflect those of the institutions she contracts for medical services to.
Thank you for listening to Opt to Thrive. If you've enjoyed listening, please rate and share the podcast. You can visit our website at opttothrive.com and leave a comment for any subjects you would like to hear more about.